Obviously, everyone at home watching has their own theories. Is that helpful?
I think it's totally unhelpful. I mean, as a nation, we're riddled with armchair detectives. In fact, I think globally we are. And everyone always has an opinion based on very little information.
You would think it'd be quite easy to find a toddler that's just walked away from the sandpit.
Former homicide detective Charlie Bazina says police would be looking at all avenues.
I agree. It should be easy to find a tot who simply wandered off, which is why I don't think that's quite what happened to Gus Lamont. In today's video, let's break down this disappearance from Down Under, whether the local police like it or not. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation, so if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For early access to new videos, exclusive videos, and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. If you're unfamiliar with this case, don't worry, the news clip we're about to react to will bring you up to speed. So there's just one last thing I want to clarify before we grab our deception decks and start analyzing, and it's this. Just because I think that Gus didn't simply wander off, it doesn't necessarily mean that there was foul play. For example, when I first started looking into William Turrell, another famous missing child case from Down Under, my initial instinct was that he'd probably wandered off and gotten lost or was taken by an animal. But after a massive search and rescue effort turned up nothing, the odds of that theory plummeted. Then my subscribers sent me some of the statements his foster parents were making, and once I determined that they were deceptive, the odds that they were directly involved in his disappearance shot up. In other words, whenever I approach a new case for the first time, I set my baseline at the statistically most likely scenario and then adjust based on the new evidence that comes in. Each case has to be analyzed individually. All right, without further ado, let's watch.
1 minute he was playing outside. The next, he was gone. Exactly what happened to preschooler Gus Lamont, no one knows. After 2 weeks without answers, speculation is building, and a former homicide detective has his own theory.
It's like he's just vaporised.
The search for Gus.
We've got a unique situation, such a rural, isolated area, when a 4-year-old goes missing.
How could he vanish without trace? Remote South Australia, a sheep grazing station south of Yunta, 300 kilometres north of Adelaide. This is where 4-year-old August Lamont, or Gus, was last seen.
4-year-old lad, they just don't disappear into thin air. They have to be somewhere. So our job is to try and find which way he's gone.
Described by his family as a quiet but adventurous boy, they're desperate for him to be found. The police say there's little hope of him being found alive.
The search for Gus has probably been one of the largest, most intensive searches for a missing person conducted in South Australia in recent times.
Our little boy lost. Wants his mum. Everyone pulls together in this sort of country. You just drop what you're doing and go. You don't question it.
Little Gus was last seen by his grandmother on Saturday the 27th of September at about 5 p.m. at his family's homestead, playing in a mound of dirt. At 5:30, his grandmother couldn't find him and reported him missing to police at 8:30. An hour later, police arrive and a search is launched. The next day, that search is ramped up. Police, SES, helicopters, drones and water police searching a 2.5 kilometre radius of the family property. On Tuesday, a family spokesperson talks to the media.
Our hearts are aching and we are holding on to hope that he will be found.
A toddler vanishes from a rural home. A record-breaking search and rescue effort turns up basically nothing, and none of the multiple adults who were around at the time know what happened. It's actually suspicious just how many cases we've covered on the channel that I could be describing, even down to the grandmother being one of the adults who was on the property. I could be talking about Summer Wells, Lillian Jack Sullivan, Dylan Ealer, or William Turrell. And that's exactly why I said earlier that we need to be careful about stereotyping cases based on superficial similarities. And in this case, at least, Gus Lamont's parents haven't made any public statements, which is a huge difference from all the other cases I talked about. I'll tell you what I think about them not making any statements yet in a moment. For now, let's just get the rest of the case facts.
On Tuesday, a family spokesperson talks to the media.
Our hearts are aching and we are holding on to hope that he will be found.
The same day, a boot print is found at the property, but later ruled out as not related. On Wednesday, the 1st of October, major crime detectives arrive on scene, but there's no suggestion of foul play. Thursday, the family release a photo of Gus and the Australian Defence Force joins the search. Still, no sign of him. On Friday, the 3rd of October, the search is scaled back.
We've all been hoping for a miracle. That miracle was not eventuated.
So what's next in the search for Gus?
I think they'd be looking at possible accident. They would be looking at third-party involvement in terms of the child being abducted. I think all avenues of inquiry are open at the moment.
Forensic psychologist Tim Watson-Munro says for him, the case is a chilling reminder of another little boy who went missing, William Tyrrell.
We remain optimistic, but being realistic, given the effluxion of time, if he's wandered off somewhere on the property, it's hard to see how a 4-year-old could survive on their own resources for this period of time.
In addition to the search activity, there has been concurrent inquiries undertaken as a matter of course, as you would expect when a 4-year-old child goes missing, and those inquiries are continuing.
Acting South Australian Police Commissioner Linda Williams says the family is fully cooperating with the investigation.
The investigation is now being managed by Missing Persons Section, which is part of Major Crime Investigation Branch, and that's where all long-term cases such as this are managed and investigated, which is standard practice.
A family friend spoke out, shutting down speculation of the child being snatched from the property.
Stop with the conspiracy theories. This child has not been taken. The property theory, in theory, there's a public road, but in reality, there are 6 gates on that road out to the highway.
We've seen a family spokesperson and a family friend talking to the press, but no actual family. And in a missing persons case, that's a red flag. The reason is, in most crimes like murder or robbery, there's only upside to exercising your right to silence, even if you're innocent. But when a loved one is missing, exercising your right to silence means that you're basically valuing the tiny risk of falsely incriminating yourself over the opportunity to appear on TV and beg potential witnesses to come forward, ask for help searching, address any potential kidnappers, or even just get more attention on the case so the police feel more pressure to solve it. That said, it's still too early to say for sure that Gus's parents' silence is suspicious. There might be some legitimate reasons for it, which we're just not privy to. Maybe I'll go over some of those if we do a part 2. For now, I want to wrap up this video with what I think happened to Gus based on what we know so far. So let's keep watching because there's still a few key details left in this report that we need to make that deduction.
Obviously, everyone at home watching has their own theories. Is that helpful?
I think it's totally unhelpful. I mean, as a nation, we're riddled with armchair detectives. In fact, I think globally we are. And everyone always has an opinion based on very little information.
You would think it'd be quite easy to find a toddler that's just walked away from the sandpit.
Former homicide detective Charlie Bazina says police would be looking at all avenues.
When you're looking at the location of the property, we know we've got dingoes out there, foxes, feral cats, wedge-tail eagles and the likes. To me, it's starting to look like every indication of, as long as the police are happy with the family and their bona fides, that it may well be a situation where he may have been taken by an animal.
As the search continues, at the heart of the investigation, a little boy missing who needs to be found.
It's a matter of, we need to find answers for the family. We'll do as best we can to the extent we can, but a line will be in the sand where they're going to say, you know what, we've done everything possible, and this may remain a mystery forever and a day.
Well, let's hope that's not the case and police come up with answers soon.
Until we have statements from Gus's parents, it's hard to determine how involved they are because there's no way to assess their veracity. That said, every day that goes by without them making a public statement, the odds that they're deliberately hiding something go up. Check the end card for my William Tyrrell playlist and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next installment in this series. If you want to continue, let me know by liking, commenting, sharing, and hyping. Until next time, stay true.